Okay, good afternoon. Everybody had your lunch? Everybody had your lunch in your chat box, yes or no? Because from 1 to 2, you have a break actually for lunch, and most probably, Shivanation, why everybody says no? So, in the meantime, you can have listening to the lecture, that is not an issue. Dharani also, whatever, whoever it is. Okay, you can meantime you can have your lunch by listening to the class. That is not that is a regular work you normally do in the morning too. I hope that morning breakfast itself you have it parallelly when the session is going on. Most probably, am I right or not? So whoever has not taken their lunch also they can parallelly take it and listen to the lecture. So most of you hope that what is the use of this particular program. Uh, this has been especially been funded by AICTE to promote higher education, between SC/ST students. Okay, that is the main motto. Whoever is actually inside the program, who has been taken care by inside the program, will be what they can appear for GATE. And I know what is the significance of gate. I have already explained you what is the significance of gate and all in the previous classes. Okay, so you can use this platform to learn in a competitive exam based. Okay, so that you go for higher studies after completing your UG, or you utilize this for getting placed in a public sector union company. Okay, whether central government or state government, whatever it is. Okay, so how many of you know about this scheme present in the platform? How many of you know about it? Yes or no in the chat? Sarani, you don't know. You say no. Actually, what about the others? What about the others? Lot of people are there. Okay, so nobody know about this. Okay, actually, our college is got some fund. Okay, to promote higher education among the persons belonging to SC/ST community. Okay, that is the reason they are providing fund for handling for teaching you and make you attend the exams related to higher education like GATE, MAT, GMAT, TOEFL, these and all. So this particular program is being focused towards what you call it as entirely covering the syllabus called as GATE, because all are UG BE degree holders, BE engineering students. So all the subjects will be covered in short basis, maybe 60 hours. We will have the class particularly, and each subject will be allotted for maybe 7 or 8 hours. Okay, in that hours they will teach you how the questions are asked in the competitive examinations, particularly exams related to higher studies, and based on the idea what you receive. Okay, so you can attend the exams in the coming future, third and final years, and probably you can get the score. I think you know about GATE already. Yes or no? GATE exam. Yes or no in the chat box, man? Yeah. Yes. So very good. So everybody knows about the GATE exam. So I will quickly go through the fundamental syllabus of GATE, and I think it is visible now. Okay. Now the PDF file is visible to you. So it has mainly three sessions. One is engineering mathematics. The second one is the subject which you belong to, and the third part is your aptitude, general aptitudes. Okay, general awareness and general aptitude, most probably. Okay, so you will get questions in these areas in your GATE exam, and also in this is also related to TANSET also. TANSET also one part we are not having. What is the basic? Yeah, just I have a problem. I have to rejoin. Just a minute. Meanwhile, I will tell you. I will tell you the okay, the importance of GATE. Already, I think you know about GATE. What is the importance of GATE is uh, if you clear or if you pass, if you get considerable amount cutoff marks in your GATE exams, okay, then it is also useful not only for you to do your higher studies in NIT, IIT, or central government universities. It is also paving way for you to get placed in public sector union companies. Okay, I think you understand what I am trying to say. It is not only helping you to get placed, get your higher education in your nationalized educational institutions like IIT, IISc, NIT, okay, JNTU, Delhi Technical University, okay, whichever is under government, okay, government actually state or central government, the eligibility is if you have a GATE score for central government universities or institutions, you can go for doing your PG. And if you in also in your what is that your state government also for GATE also we have an opening, and otherwise you will go for a non-GATE. If you are not writing a GATE exam, you can go for a non-GATE exam. That is also possible. So this GATE exam, if you pass this GATE exam, okay, you can do your PG degree, as well as you can also indirectly or directly you are eligible to attend interview for your public sector union companies like NTPC, your BEL, BHEL, okay, central government based public sector union, the Navaratna, Maharatna companies are there, no, and those companies you are eligible to go for an interview without a written test, and possibly if the cutoff what you get is higher, then okay, there is a possibility of getting placed in one central government company also, one central government organization also. So kindly you try to know what is the importance of this particular scheme, these classes, okay, and regularly try to be on the class on time actually, okay, on time, and not as a usual class. We will be discussing upon little theoretical as well as problematic concepts, and also we will be discussing upon what you call it as the shortcuts which is used. Okay, the shortcuts which is used actually to face that exam also for every subject. So in this regard, I am provided with. I will be handling classes for signals and system completely. I'll be taking classes. Maybe 7 hours is allotted for signals and systems. So first span of the classes will be for particularly for signals and systems. So today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, all the evening sessions from 2 to 4 you will be having classes for signals and systems. Okay, I will try to cover as much as possible in all the 7 hours. Okay, the entire syllabus. Beyond that, if you want some more classes, even if it is not official, we will have it as a okay, it's an unofficial work and all. We can go for it. That is not an issue. But the thing is, you have to utilize it in a proper way. So you can see that, okay, signals and systems is one part, is one area where nearly 7 point some grade marks is being provided. So 6 to 7 questions or for 7 marks, you may get questions from this particular signals and system area. And I will also handle a part of circuit theory classes, okay, circuit theory subject, and a part of control systems. Okay, so those subjects also I will be taking classes in a rotational basis. I will be coming, and for signals and systems, I will be covering entire syllabus by my own self. Okay, right. So this is the way. So you will have 60 hours of classes. Okay, continuously, not continuously in the sense in the everyday afternoon part, unless otherwise any major change is there, they will you will have regular classes from Monday to Saturday in the afternoon session. Is that clear? Is that clear? Whatever I have said in the chat box, yes or no? Yeah, only one person is responding. Yes. Okay. So kindly listen to the class patiently, and please raise your questions wherever you have doubts. Actually, okay, wherever you have doubts, please raise your questions. Take it in a right spirit. Use this platform to get your life settled down. Understand? So today it is going to be an introduction to signals and systems. I will be giving entire first, because I divide this into 7 sessions. The representation, this is the syllabus, okay, for signals and systems. Representation of continuous and discrete time signals, shifting and scaling operations, LTI systems, linear time invariant causal systems. So this is one part. Then Fourier series representation of continuous periodical signals is going to be the second part. We will be talking about sampling theorem, and then applications of various transforms like Fourier, Laplace, and Z transform. Okay, so in 7 hours, I will be taking nearly 4 hours to discuss about the subjects. 4 to 5 hours we will be discussing about subjects, including some problems, and maybe 3 hours or 2 hours, especially describing about revising about the previous GATE question paper based work. Okay, MCQ type questions will be there. So I will also maybe I will also post a quiz regarding this subject. What are all the things we have learned? We will post it as a quiz so that you are able to work on it. And nearly 25 to 30 questions will be there, and that 30 questions you are able to work on it without any what is that deviation. I think you will be able to get at least 5 to 6 marks in this particular subject. So getting a score is not an issue in your GATE exam. If nearly 10 subjects are there, if you are good familiar with at least 5 to 6 subjects, okay, and basic knowledge in some other maybe 1 or 2 subjects there, you definitely will get a GATE score. So the lifestyle of you will change if you go there and get a higher study in a nationalized university. So keep that in mind, okay, and try to regularly attend the class without any deviation. Okay, I think you accept it. Yes or no? And yes or no in the chat box, man. I think everybody here in the class will provide me a complete cooperation in this regard, so that your family also gets the benefit of, okay, the benefit of utilizing that. So think about your family, your own betterment, and please try to attend all the classes as on regular basis without any deviations hereafter. Okay, and this will also help you to learn your regular subjects also. So keep that in mind and try to cooperate with me and try to follow whatever the instructions we are providing in the classes. Okay, so we will start with the introduction to signals and system today, and people both in your final year as well as third year are dealing with DSP and signals and systems. So whatever I am going to discuss today will be again brushing up basics, which you have studied already in 4 or 5 classes, which we have studied in the regular academic classes. Okay, we will see how far you are able to answer my questions, which is being posted to you now. So the first part of the lecture covers you the theoretical concepts of the signals and classifications of signals. So we know what is a signal. It's a function of It's a function representing a physical quantity, which may have a single variable or a multivariable, and it has an information in it. It may be a continuous time signal. It may be a discrete time signal. It may be a pulsed waveform. Okay, right? It may be an image. It may be a speech signal. It is a representation of a temperature. It may be a representation of a light. It goes on like that. You represent that in the form of a mathematical equation. You call it as a deterministic signal. If you are unable to represent that, it may be a random signal too. Okay, this is what you call it as a signal classification, and you can see that he is Fourier actually, and you have a black and white picture and a color picture. In both the cases, both are signals. Okay, in which this black and white will have only 2 channels, black and white. Here you will have 3 channels because the basic colors will be added here. So it's a 3-channel 2-dimensional signal, or it is a 2-channel 2-dimensional signal. If it is a moving picture, we say it is a 3-dimensional signal with varying time. Okay. So we will first discuss about elementary signals. The elementary signal is first unit step signal, which is represented as u of t is equal to 1 for t greater than 0. That is, at t is equal to 0, this signal is a discontinuous signal. You cannot say what is the value of the signal at t is equal to 0. And u of t minus t naught is the shifted version of the step signal, because you see t minus t naught, it starts from t naught, not from 0. So it is called as a left shifted. Okay, it is a shifted curve. Or in the other way, we call it as a delayed signal. Okay, it is a delayed signal. So this is a unit step signal, which is a causal signal also, because it is represented only in the positive part. It is not represented in the negative part. Okay. Then unit impulse, we have already know that unit impulse signal is again it's a representation of a signal which has a value only exactly at t is equal to 0. Otherwise, in t not equal to 0, the value is going to be 0. But practically, if you want, you will get a gate pulse. You will have a gate pulse which is having an area of 1. So that is what we call it as a unit impulse, which will have a width of a and a height of 1 by a. So it is a rectangle gate. So if you see that it is a rectangle, the area of the rectangle is going to be 1 by a into a, which is going to give you 1. So obviously it is going to be, the area will be 1. So you call it as a unit impulse function, which is practically possible. And the below figure will give you what is the deviated or delayed signal of the impulse signal. Now complex exponential is represented as e power j omega naught t, where omega naught is your frequency, and for time period t naught is equal to 2 pi by omega naught. Okay, this e power j omega naught can be represented as cos omega naught t plus j sin omega naught t, and this cos omega naught is called as the real part of the signal, and sin omega naught t is called as the imaginary part of the signal. If you have real part alone, then you call that as a real exponential. If you have a complex exponential like e power j term there, you will call it as a complex exponential signal. Okay, and you can see that this is a complex exponential signal which has, this is what you call it as a increasing exponential curve, and this is a decreasing exponential curve in complex exponential. And real exponential, this is increasing exponential a, and b is the real exponential, where you say this real value will be greater than 0, and here the real value sigma will be less than 0. Okay. And sinusoidal signal, if you say, you represent it as a cos omega naught t plus theta in general, where a is the magnitude, omega naught is the frequency, and theta is the phase change or phase angle. And again, based on omega naught, we will write what is the fundamental period. T naught is equal to 2 pi by omega naught. Okay. So from the omega naught, you can finally finalize that what is the fundamental time period for the provided sinusoidal signal. It may be represented as sin omega naught t plus theta also. this a cos omega naught t plus theta can also be represented as a into real part of e power j omega naught t plus theta, because real part of e power j omega naught t plus theta is going to be cos omega naught t plus theta. Okay, so the other value we call it as imaginary part of e power j omega naught t can be also be represented as a into sin omega naught t plus theta. This you are familiar with that. So omega naught will always be represented as omega naught is equal to 2 pi by f naught. So f naught becomes omega naught by 2 pi. So 1 by f naught will give you your t naught. So t naught is getting 2 pi by omega naught. So this is very, very important for problem oriented task. If you are given a problem oriented questions, then t naught is equal to 2 pi omega naught is the very important formula to be used. So you can see that the first peak, the time interval between the first peak and the very next second peak is termed as one cycle, and it is also termed as one time period. So time naught, this is the fundamental time period. If it is continuous actually and comes again and again recursively, we call it as a periodic signal. Okay, if this notation, okay, or this signal repeats again after a considerable amount of time, have the same type of sequence, then you call it as a periodic signal. Okay, that is again a which want to do. So that is a continuous standard signals. The same can be represented as discrete time signals also. So unit step function u of n is equal to 1 for n greater than equal to 0 and 0 for n less than 0. As similar to that of u n is equal to 0, unlike continuous time, this n is equal to 0, you can see it is n greater than equal to 0. So at 0, n is equal to 0, the value is 1. Not like your continuous. Continuous la namakku t equal to 0 la undefined da. Ana n is equal to 0, it is defined. Adu konjam gavanama paathukanum. Again, you can shift it in either way. N minus k கிடைக்கலாம், n plus k கிடைக்கலாம். N minus k na right side shift ஆகும், n plus k na left side shift ஆகும். இதெல்லாம் உனக்கு தெரிஞ்சதுதான். அப்போ right side shift ஆகணும் அப்படின்னா அதுக்கு பேர் delay, left side shift ஆனா அதுக்கு பேர் advancing. இதெல்லாம் operations performed. Now unit impulse, so del of n is equal to 1 for n equal to 0 and 0 for n not equal to 0, and delta of n minus k is equal to 1 for n is equal to k. You can see that only at k equal to 0, only n is equal to k, you will have a value. Other values are 0, which is a shifted version of unit impulse. 1.11b. Okay. So complex exponential, you can see that e power j omega naught n actually. This e power j omega naught n can be written as cos omega naught n plus j sin omega naught n, where this cos omega naught n is the real part and sin omega naught n is the imaginary part, and n naught is the fundamental time period, which can be represented as 2 pi by omega naught into m, where omega naught is your fundamental frequency and n naught is your fundamental time period, and m is the smallest integer which makes this as a rational number, or we say it is an integer value. Okay, so m has to be chosen. It's an integer value. It's the smallest integer value which makes this fraction a rational fraction or rational number. Okay, that is what we can we say this is the formula for finding out the fundamental time period. So this e power j omega naught plus 2 pi k will give you a repeated time sequence which is said to be a periodic in nature. And periodically in the sense, normally the interval will be between 0 to 2 pi or from minus pi to pi. And this may be a real exponential sequence if you have a alpha value lying between alpha greater than 1 or alpha varying from 0 to 1 or alpha varying from minus 1 to 0 or alpha less than minus 1. By taking different values, your c into alpha power n is called as a general complex exponential sequence in discrete time sequence. Okay. And c may take any value. C may take any value. Obviously, we put for our simplicity c is equal to 1, and alpha is equal to e power j omega. And if your imaginary part becomes 0, it is going to be real exponential. That is what I'm trying to say. So you can see that this is a real exponential, and c and d are having values alpha varying from different values. If alpha is greater than 1, you will have an exponentially increasing curve. If alpha is less than 1, you have a decreasing curve exponentially. Then alpha varies from 0 to 1, then it is going to be a complex exponentially decreasing, and it is going to vary accordingly. When alpha is less than -1, it is going to have a different structure. So sinusoidal sequence, as we represented as continuous time, it is going to be a cos omega naught n plus theta, and here also you have a proper sampled version of the signal. So this is a cos pi by what is called as pi by 6n, and the second one is cos n by 2 type signal. So you can see that it's a cosine wave or a sine wave, which is generally represented as a sinusoidal sequence. Okay, so classifications of the signals, we will go for it. Before that, whatever we have seen is basically the standard test signals what we employ in our analysis. Okay, so classification of signals, we have analog and digital, real and complex, deterministic, random, even, odd, periodic, aperiodic, energy and power signals. So if we go for it, continuous time, discrete time signal, if you see that this is a continuous time signal, for every time instant you will get a magnitude value. That is, the signal is defined for all time instants. Then you call it as a continuous time signal. If it is described only for a particular time instant, okay, and it is undefined for a couple of maybe a few time instants, then you call it as a discrete time instant. Now you can see in the signal B, between 0 and 1, the signal is not defined. Between 0 and 1, the signal is not defined. So it is becoming a discrete time signal. Okay. Now some examples are provided. This discrete time signal can be represented as this is called as a functional representation, the first equation. The second one is called as a sequential representation. The previous, we have seen that it is what you call it as representation in the form of a graphical form, and if you represent it in a tabulation form, you call it as a tabular representation. So what is the real and complex signals, we have already discussed. Okay, so we go for deterministic and random. If you are able to specifically provide an equation or represent a signal mathematically, then you call that as a deterministic signal. ஒரு சிக்னலை மேத்தமெட்டிக்கலா நம்மளால ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ண முடிஞ்சதுன்னா அது டிட்டர்மினிஸ்டிக். அதை வந்து மேத்தமெட்டிக்கலா ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ண முடியல அப்படின்னா அது வந்து ரேண்டம் சிக்னல். ரேண்டம் சிக்னல்லையுமே அனலைசிஸ்க்காக என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் பார்ட் ஆஃப் த சிக்னல் will be represented as mathematically, then it will, but what is that is you cannot predict the next batch of signals. ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட டைம் பீரியடுக்கு நம்ம சிக்னலை மேத்தமெட்டிக்கலா ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ணாலும் ரேண்டம் சிக்னலை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் அடுத்த டைம் இன்ஸ்டன்ட்ல எப்படி அந்த சிக்னல் வரும்ன்றது நம்மளால வந்து ப்ரெடிக்ட் பண்ண முடியாது. அதனால தான் மேத்தமெட்டிக்கல் ரெப்ரசென்டேஷன் ஆஃப் சிக்னல் அனாலிசிஸ் ஆஃப் ரேண்டம் சிக்னல்ஸ் இஸ் லிட்டில் டிஃபிகல்ட். Okay. So what is even and odd signal? Even signal, if you are satisfying the condition x of, okay, I think I have a problem with the network. I will rejoin again. Meanwhile, be online. Please be online. This network issue is there from morning actually. We will see how far it is they are able to overcome that. So far whatever we have discussed, whether you are able to follow. As I said, this is again whatever we have discussed in the academic classes. Okay, whatever we have discussed in the academic is going to come for another half an hour. After that, we will be dealing with a few different problems which we might have not seen in the academic activities, regular classes, which is specifically been for this competitive based examinations or higher gate-like examinations. So first half an hour, it will be brushing up the basics, providing you the fundamentals about what is a signal, what is a system, classification of signals and classification of systems and all. Maybe in the coming after half an hour, you probably will be introduced to your actual what is that, problems, right? Different types of problems. Please be online. I am trying to connect. Maybe it will take another 1 or 2 minutes for me to join. Okay. Meanwhile, while connecting, actually, you try to tell me how about the how whether whatever we discussed, you are clear about the basic concepts. Okay. Because whenever the problems are coming into the picture, then you should be able to refer the previous discussion what we have done. Okay, if I am asking you to operate over a signal which is having a standard representation, or I will ask you, I will provide you a signal and ask you to represent that in the form of based on your what you call it as elementary signals, then you should be able to do that. Unless otherwise you understand the previous concept, it's going to be a difficult task for you. So if you have doubts in whatever we have discussed so far, you kindly tell me whether you have a doubt. We will have a discussion. Yeah, I think I have joined now. I'll continue my presentation. Okay, so this is where I stopped actually. So okay, you know about this even and odd signal also. What is an even signal or odd signal? If your signal satisfies the first equation, that is x of minus t is equal to x of t, or x of minus n is equal to x of n, both in continuous time and discrete time. If this is the case, then you call it as an even signal. And the odd signal is what? If x of minus t is equal to minus x of t, or x of minus n is equal to minus x of n, then you call this as a odd signal. The example for an even signal is being provided here. Always you will see that the right hand side and left hand side of the signal will be looking as it is, same as that of the same. You can see in the A and B signal, you can see that these two are A and B are even signals. In C and D, you can see x of t is equal to minus x of minus t. Then it is going to have a representation called as odd signal representation. In even signal, always your zeroth value will be maximum, and in odd signal, always your zeroth value will be zero. That you have to keep in mind. Unless otherwise you have your t equal to 0 is 0, your even signal will have the maximum value. Okay. So your x e of t, that is even signal, can be represented as x of t plus x of minus t by 2. Odd signal can be represented as 1 by 2 x of t minus x of minus t. Okay, these formulas we already are familiar with that formulas. So what is a periodic sequence or a non-periodic signal? If your signal is repeating recursively after a particular time, then you call that as a periodic signal. Otherwise, it is going to be a aperiodic signal. In general, how do you say x of t plus t? X of t plus t is equal to x of t for all t. Then you say t is the fundamental time period and it is repeating, so you call this as what you call it as a periodic signal. If it is not satisfying this equation, then you call that as a aperiodic signal. What is a energy and a power signal? Signal may be energy or a power signal, or neither energy nor power may also be there. To that, if your signal satisfies a few conditions, then you call that as, based on that you comment about that signal, whether it is energy or power, or neither energy nor power. For what? If energy is finite and power is zero, then you call that signal as energy signal. If power is finite and energy is infinite, then you call it as the power signal. If both the conditions are not satisfied, you call it as neither energy nor power. Okay, and you have formulas for energy and power. E is equal to infinity minus infinity to plus infinity I squared of t dt. This is for energy in time domain, what you call it as continuous time domain. And P is equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 by t integral minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 I squared of t dt. This is the expression for power for continuous time signals. The same integral will change to summation in your discrete time signal, and this 1 by t will be 1 by 2n plus 1. Okay, that is what the change it is going to be. So energy is finite and power is zero, energy signal. Power is finite and energy is infinite, you call it as power signal. If both the conditions 1 and 2 are not satisfied, it is going to be neither energy nor power. So systems can be classified. Okay, systems and classifications. What is a system? Okay, if you are providing input to a system, you will be responded with an output. It is going to be a connection of different components connected in such a way that it is being working to provide you a response if an input is being provided. So it will have a few components connected together. If you supply an input to the system or connected subsystems, then you will get some output there. We call that a system. It may be a single input, single output system, or a multi-input, multi-output system. In general, you represent it as y is equal to t of x. T is called as transformation operator. Okay. So you classify your system as deterministic and stochastic, continuous time, discrete time, system with memory and without memory, which is called as with memory is called as dynamic, and without memory is called as static, causal and non-causal, linear system and non-linear system, time invariant and time varying, stable and unstable systems. So what is deterministic and stochastic? If the input and the output of deterministic signals, then the system is called deterministic system. If the input and output signals are random signals, then you call it as a random, what you call it as a stochastic or a random system. Okay, right? What is a continuous time and discrete time system? If the input signal is continuous time and the output signal is also a continuous time, then you call that system as a continuous time system. If the input signal is a discrete time and the output signal is a discrete time signal, then you call that system as a discrete time system. So what is a system with memory and without memory? There is a possibility of storing energy in any system. That you may have some transient elements present there to store energy. For example, if you go for a electrical system, energy can be stored using capacitance and inductance. So those are all called as transient elements, and possibly those the systems having such elements has the possibility of being a system with memory, and only with resistor we call it as a what you call it as a memoryless system. If the present output depends upon present input only, that is y of n is depending upon x of n alone, then you call that as a memoryless system. You doesn't need a memory because the present sample instant is only required. That is, input is depending upon present input is depending present output is depending upon present input only. So it is a static system or memoryless system. If it requires the previous past input, then you call that as a memory system having memory or dynamic system. So we have given you some examples of a system having memory and without memory. The first 1.61 is giving you y of t is equal to r into x of t. You can see if t varies from maybe if t equal to 0, then you say y of 0 is equal to r into x of 0. That is, the output signal at t equal to 0 is requiring only the input signal at x is equal to 0. So the present value is only required. So this system at 1.61 is called as a memoryless system or static system. The other two systems which are represented in equation 1.62 and 1.63 is termed as dynamic systems or systems with memory. You can see that if t is represented with 0, then you can see if you expand your integration, then obviously it is also requiring the particular t value as well as a value at minus infinity. So this the value at minus infinity is also means to be stored already, which is a past value. So this is a dynamic system or a system with memory. Here also for n is equal to some value, it is requiring the previous values of k. K is equal to minus infinity, minus 2, minus 3, minus 5. So all these values are required for any n is equal to value. Then it is also called as a system with memory or dynamic systems. What is a causal and non-causal system? A system in which the present output depends upon present input and present past input also. then you call that as a causal system. I'm talking about a causal system. Causal signal is different. Causal signal is what? A signal which is defined only for t greater than equal to 0 or n greater than equal to 0. We call it as a causal system. That is, the signal is defined only for positive values. If it is also defined for negative values, you call that as a causal signal. But here, causal system. What is a causal system? The present output depends upon present and past inputs. Then you call that as a causal system. If it depends upon what you call it as a future value, then you call it as a non-causal or an anti-causal system, and that system is also called as anticipatory system or anticipative system. For example, the examples provided in equation 1.64, y of t is equal to x of t plus 1. What is there? Just a minute, I will work on it. So y of t is equal to x of t plus 1. When you put t equal to 0, you get y of 0 is equal to x of 1. So what is this x of 1? This x of 1 is a past value. This x of 1 is a past value, because the time instant is 0. In a timeline, if you see 0 is the instant here, 1 will come after 0, which is future. Okay, this is future. This is present. Okay, this one is past. That is, which is having -1, -2, minus this negative values. These are all past values. Now you can see that this is not actually past, actually this is future. I have made a mistake. Kindly make a note of that. This is not a past value. X of 1 is the future value because it comes after 0. Okay, so it is going to be future value. So this is a future value. So this system is a non-causal system. Non-causal system. Non-causal system. Okay, I will ask you a question here. Okay, I will ask you a question here. Now tell me, y of n is equal to x of 1 by n, whether it is a causal or non-causal, in your chat box. Y of n is equal to x of 1 by n, whether it is causal or a non-causal system, in your chat box. Make it first. If it is a causal system, type C. If it is a non-causal system, type NC. Yes? Yes, how do you get it actually? If you substitute n is equal to 0, what you will get? If you substitute n is equal to 0, you will get y of 0, x of 1 by 0, which is equal to x of infinity. What about this? This x of infinity is a future value. It's a future value. It comes after 0, long after 0. So this is going to be a non-causal system. This is a non-causal system. This is a non-causal system. Okay. Now I will go for one more. I will go for one more question. Y of n is equal to y of n is equal to x of minus n. Whether it is causal or non-causal, in your chat box, please. Yes? Yeah, it is non-causal. Yes, correct. Shanmuganathan is correct. Dharani, how do you say it is causal? Don't say only putting n is equal to 0. If you put n is equal to 0, you will get y of 0 is equal to x of 0. As of now, this will be okay. Okay, now if you substitute n is equal to 1, you will get y of 1 is equal to x of minus 1. Again, it is okay because x of minus 1 is past. No issue. As per your statement, it is going to be, yeah, it is past value. You will say it is going to be causal. But think of this, n is equal to minus 1. So y of minus 1 is equal to what? X of 1. What about x of 1? Whether it is past or present or future. In your timeline, if you see, in your timeline, negative comes minus 1, 0, 1. Okay, now your n value is minus 1. Okay, now your signal sample is here. But it is asking a value at x is equal to 1, which is in the future. So x of 1 is the future value. So this signal y of n is equal to x of minus n is a non-causal signal. Dharani, are you able to follow? Dharani, are you able to follow? Because you said it is a causal signal. It is not causal. It is actually a non-causal. Okay, so we will go back to the presentation. So you can see that y of n is equal to x of minus n is a non-causal system. Now, what is a linear and nonlinear system? A system which satisfies the principle of homogeneity and the principle of superposition. Then you call that as a, what is it? That is going to be a linear system, and if it does not satisfy it, it is going to be a nonlinear system. Some examples of nonlinear systems are provided. Y is equal to x squared, y is equal to cos x. So these are all, but if you substitute natural numbers, what is that, Dharani, you are asking? Yeah. If you say it, if you substitute n equal to 0 and 1, that is positive values, what you call it is 0 to infinity, positive side. Okay, it will behave like a causal, it looks like a causal signal, causal system, but we have to check with all the possible functions, when both in negative side as well as in positive side. Are you clear, Dharni? Yeah. So nonlinear systems, y is equal to x squared and y is equal to cos x will not satisfy the superposition principle. So you call this call these two signals systems are as a nonlinear systems. I will tell you why. I will work on one problem. What is y is equal to x squared? Y is equal to x squared. I will work on this problem. So transformation of a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n. Sometimes people will put a b here. A1 instead of a1 a2 they will put a b. That is also possible. So that should be equal to a1 transformation of x1 of n plus a2 transformation of x2 of n. So this is what you call it as a superposition theorem, and the principle of homogeneity is there. So first I will go for the right hand side. Okay, what is the problem? Okay, y1 is equal to x1 squared. So I can obviously write this as a into y1 is equal to, or a1 into y1 is equal to a1 into x1 squared. Okay, same way y2 is equal to x2 squared, which is obviously I multiply with a scalar. So a2 into y2 will be equal to a2 into x2 squared. Now if I add these two, that is a1 y1 plus a2 y2 is equal to, okay, a1 x1 squared plus a2 x2 squared. This is equation number 1, which is your right hand side of your superposition principle. Now I go for the left hand side. What is left hand side? If I replace, instead of y, if I replace a1 y1 of n plus a2 y2 of 2, okay, y2 of y1 plus a2 y2, then it is going to be a1 x1 plus a1 x1 plus a2 x2 the whole square. That is what is provided in the problem. Y is equal to x squared. Instead of x, you replace a1 x1 plus a2 x2. Now the equation is going to be a1 squared x1 squared plus a2 squared x2 squared plus 2a1 a2 x1 x2. Now this is equation number 2, which is your LHS, left hand side. Now if you see 1 and 2, whether they are same, is 1 and 2 are same or not? a1 x squared plus a2 x2 squared, but here you are having a third term. So these two equations are not same. So I write this is a nonlinear system, which is not satisfying my superposition principle and the principle of homogeneity. So this is called as a nonlinear system. Okay, I've taken a simple example, y is equal to x squared, and I have tried to apply your superposition principle and the principle of homogeneity and prove that that is a nonlinear system. That is a nonlinear system. So time invariant and time varying system. So if the system varies with respect to time, the amount of delay what you provide it in the input is also available in the output. Then you call that as a time invariant system. இன்புட்ல நம்ம என்ன சேஞ்ச் பண்றோமோ டைம் அதே அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் சேஞ்ச் அவுட்புட்லயும் வந்துருச்சுன்னா அது டைம் இன்வேரியன்ட். இன்புட்ல சேஞ்ச் பண்ற டைம் மாதிரி இல்லாம குறைச்சோவாவோ இல்ல கூடலாவோ இருந்ததுன்னா அது அவுட்புட்ல அது வந்து டைம் வேரியிங் சிஸ்டம். அதை எந்த எக்ஸ்பிரஷன் வச்சு சொல்றாங்க? they represent it using a condition. What is the condition? The condition is y of n comma k is equal to y of n minus k. This y of n comma k is nothing but transformation of x of n minus k. If you delay the input by k samples, then the output also has to delay of k samples. Input k samples delay panna output லையும் k samples delay இருந்ததுன்னா then it is a time invariant system, TIV. இப்போ இது satisfy ஆகல அப்படின்னா it is a time varying system. டைம் வேரியிங் சிஸ்டம். இன்புட்டை நான் எவ்வளவு தூரத்துக்கு டிலே பண்றேனோ அதே அளவுக்கு அவுட்புட்டையும் டிலே ஆச்சுன்னா அது டைம் இன்வேரியன்ட். அப்படி இல்லைன்னா இட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி அ டைம் வேரியிங் சிஸ்டம். ரெண்டுமே சாட்டிஸ்ஃபை ஆகுது. இஃப் டூ கண்டிஷன்ஸ் ஆர் சாட்டிஸ்ஃபைட், போத் சூப்பர்பொசிஷன் பிரின்சிபல் இஸ் ஆல்சோ சாட்டிஸ்ஃபைட் and your time invariant property is also satisfied, then you call that system as a LTI system, linear time invariant system. So what is a stable system? The stable system is described means of bounded input, bounded output stability. If a signal, if a system is provided with a bounded input and the output is also a bounded output, then you call that as a stable system. If you are getting an unbounded output, then you call that as an unstable system. This is one type of definition for your bounded input, bounded output stability. You can also define your stability based on your location of poles. If the poles lies on left hand side of the S plane, then the system is stable. If the poles are on the right hand side of the S plane, then it is unstable in continuous time. If for discrete time, you have to go for a Z domain. So if you see if the poles lies inside the unit circle, the system is stable. If the poles lies outside the unit circle, then the system is unstable. If it lies exactly on the imaginary axis or radius of the circle, then you call that as going to be a marginally stable system. So this is how they say about stable system and unstable system. What is feedback? In the sense we call this as recursive. What is recursive? Recursive in the sense if the present input, present output depends upon past output. Present output depends upon past output, then you call it as a recursive system which has a feedback. If it is not having such thing, then you call it as a non-recursive system or a system which is not having any feedback. Okay, right. Now I am introducing you with a few problems. Before that, I want the feedback from the students available in the class. So whatever so far discussed, either in the classification of systems or signals, anybody have any doubts? Anybody have a doubt? You can please post me. You can please ask me. Anything I want to repeat it again. Any particular classification I want to repeat it again. You can ask me now. I will give you 1 or 2 minutes time. I will show you 1 or 2. I will give you 1 or 2 minutes time. You tell me. Anybody there? Who is there in the class? Are having any clarifications needed? So I'm now going for the problem. If you are not having any doubts, now I go for a problem. Okay. Now, the functions are provided. They are asking you to okay. They are asking to express the following functions in general form of the unit step function. How do you represent it? U of t minus t by 4 minus 4. How do you represent it? And if you are able to represent it, how the curve looks like? Okay, that is what the question is. Okay. So first one I will take u of t by 4 minus 4. You know what is u of t? U of t is your, what is that? U of t is your unit step signal. We have seen already. It varies from t equal to t is greater than 0. Okay. Now you have a shifted version. So I start with u of t minus 4 first because I have a minus 4 here. So I go for a u of t minus 4. So initially my step signal has to start from 0. Since it is being delayed for 4, then my signal will start from 4 and the value of the signal is 1 all along. Okay. Now, okay, I will take this and I will try to plot it. So you will not get a confusion in the description, right? I will go step by step. Please try to follow. Please try to follow. Okay. Now, okay, this one, the first curve. Okay. The first, okay, this is what you call it as, okay, u of t. This you call it as u of t. Okay, t is equal to 0. It starts and the value is 1. Correct. What they are asking is, try to draw the curve for u of t by 4 minus 4 and represent its equivalent in standard form. Okay, now this u of t can be represented as u of t minus t naught. Okay, t minus t naught, and that will be here. So this point will be t naught. Okay, this point will be t naught, and the value is going to be 1. Now you compare this with your expression which is provided. If you replace t naught with my 4, okay, which is because you have a 4 here, then obviously this t naught will be equal to 4. I take it out, so I will put it like I have a 4 here. I have a value 4. So I represent this as u of t minus 4. So what is the coefficient of t here? 1. So what is indirectly it is saying? It is saying that divided by 1. Okay, 4 divided by 1, which is equal to 4. Okay, the coefficient of t is 1, so it is 4 by 1, which is going to be 4. But your actual signal is having a different coefficient. What is that? U of t by 4. The coefficient of t is 1 by 4. Okay, the coefficient of t is 1 by 4. So how your representation changes is u of t by 4 minus 4. If that is the case, then okay, then my representation will have a change. What is the change I have? This is going to be the curve, and this point will be 4 divided by the coefficient of t is 1 by 4, so you will have a 4 there, 1 by 4 here. So this 4 divided by 1 by 4 will become like this 4 goes upside, so you will get a 16. So finally what I can conclude, this problem is similar to the top. A value closer to t is equal to 16, and this can also be represented as u of t minus 16, u of t minus 16, and the value is 1. So the final answer, what I can write is this u of t by 4 minus 4 is equal to u of t minus 16. Okay, based on the coefficient, I am changing some manipulations, so I am getting a value. This u of t by 4 minus 4 is equal to u of t minus 16. You can see that. So it is again scaled. We are getting a 16 here, so I can conclude that u of t by 4 minus 4 is equal to u of t minus 16. What about the next one? U of t by 4 plus 4. What will happen? Can anybody in the class can say what will happen? Yes. The second problem. U of t by 4 plus 4. This can be written as equal to u of t plus 16. You can see that. And the curve will be shifted to the left side as usual. What is the third problem? The notation u of minus 3t plus 6. So you can see the coefficient is minus 3, or I can see that I have to have what is that minus t. So I have to fold it. You can see that I have to fold it and I have to proceed. You can see that you have u of t plus 6, then you can scale that. So divided by 6, if you put 6 by 3, then you will get minus 2. Okay, then you have to fold it. That is right side has to go to the left side has to go to the right side. So you can see that u of minus 3t plus 6. What is your fourth one? 3t plus 6. So it is going to be the opposite one. You can see that here. U of t plus 6 is there. U of 3t plus 6 is there. So directly you can get that. So u of that can also be represented as u of t plus 2. That can also be represented as u of 3 plus 2. As simple as that. So we call this as elementary operations performed over signal, or representing a given signal in using elementary signals. That is also we can say. You kindly make a note of this important relation. If you differentiate a ramp signal, you will get a step signal. If you differentiate a step signal, you will get an impulse signal. The vice versa. If you integrate impulse signal, you will get a step signal. If you integrate a step signal, you will get a ramp signal. Okay, this relation is very important when you are performing any operations. Okay, transformations of the independent variables. First, we will go for time scaling, then we will go for time shifting, then we will learn what is called as time reversal. Right, if you are having x of t as this signal is x of t, which is varying from -1 to 2, varying from -1 to 2. So this can be represented as x of t. X of t is equal to t plus 1 between -1 to 2. If you see, if you put t equal to -1, if you put t equal to -1, what you will get? You will get x of -1 is equal to 0. X of -1 is equal to 0. When you put t is equal to 0, you will get x of 0 is equal to 0 plus 1, which is 1. So x of 0 is equal to 1. If you put t is equal to 2 or 1 or 2, obviously, if you put 2, x of t is equal to 2, then you will get 3. When x of t is equal to 3, it is there in the figure. So this x of t can be represented as t plus 1 between the limits -1 to 2 and 0 otherwise. They are asking for time scaling. You are going to time scale it, this x of t. So first we will go for what is called as x of minus t. So we call this as time inversion, time reversal, or time inversion. So you repeat, or you just fold it with respect to 0. So what is there in the right side goes to the left side, which is there in the left side goes to the right side. So obviously you can see that your signal will be represented like, and your x of minus t will be called as minus t plus 1. If you now see, if you put t is equal to -2, what will you get? You will get 3. If you put t is equal to 0, you will get 1. If you put t equal to 1, then what you will get? Obviously you will get your 0 value. So this is how you call it as a what is called as time reversal. Then you go for time scaling. X of 2t, instead of t put 2t, so your signal becomes 2t plus 1. So obviously your signal will change. If you put t equal to 0, you will get x of 0. At x of 0, its value is going to be 1. When t is equal to 1 by 2 only, you will get x of 1. Then only you can, and then only you will get your value 0. So you will get it. So like that. Okay, like that. If you go for x of -1 by 2 only, t is equal to -1 by 2, you will get x of -1. So you will get -1 by 2, you will get 0. So it is there. If the modulus value is greater than 1, you call it as a compression, and if it is less than 1, you call it as expansion. Now you are doing your compression value. If you put t by 2, you will get an expansion. Then this is called the shifting. This is right side shifting or delaying. This is left side shifting, which is called as advancing. Okay, advancing. Now this is x of t minus 2 because it has to start from -1. 2 samples late, it has to start 0, 1, so it is t minus 2. And this is starting at -4, but your actual signal starts at -1. So 3 samples before that it starts, so it is x of t plus 3. Okay, shifting it, advancing it 3 samples before. Right. Then the next problem is express the following in terms of a step and ramp function. You can see that the first signal, I will take the first signal. If you have worked on your if you have worked on your what you call it as assignment, I think you will be able to solve this one. So it starts from -2 to 3. So the first one is represented as 3 into 3 into r of t plus 2, because it is a ramp signal. So I put it like, if it is r of t, it starts from 0. Since it starts from -2, I put it like t plus 2, and it is a ramp, I put it like r into t plus 2, and the value of the ramp maximum value is 3, so I put a 3 there. But suddenly at -1 it goes down, and it goes down up to -3. The value, the difference between 3 and -3 is 6. So I put a negative value -6, and it changes at t is equal to -1. So I put r of t plus 1, -6 r of t plus 1, and it remains to travel. Okay, it remains to travel up to this point. So I put 3 r of t minus 1 because it happens at t minus 1. The value is -3. After that, it maintains the value to be at -3. Okay, so I put u of t minus 3 because up to this the value is going to be -3. After that, it is going to 0. So I put the 3 into u of t minus 3. The first thing. The second one, if you see the second diagram, okay, it starts at -6. So I will put it like, and the value remains to be at 2. So 2 into u of t plus 6. Then it increases. At -3, it's changing. So I put u of t plus 3. Then how much it increases from 2 to 4 it goes. So I put 2 into u of t plus 3. Then you have a ramp actually. So I go for r of, and since the change happens at -3, I put t plus 3. And you can see the value changes from 4 to 6. From 4 it changes to 6. So the ratio is 6 by 4. 4 to 6. So it is going to be 4 by 6. So 4 by 6 is going to be 2 by 3. So 2 by 3 is the slope. X, y by x. Y by x is, okay, 2 by 3. Okay, 2 by 3. Right. Then it decreases in the other way. Up to 3 it is, okay, at 0 it is decreasing. So I put a -4 by 3. Okay, -4 by 3 into r of t plus this happens again, decreases. So I put a plus 2 by 3 into r of t plus 3 because it remains. Then it, after that, it again decreases, which is -2 into u of t minus 3. Okay, then again it becomes 0 at u of t minus 6. So you put -2 into u of, because already here are 2. So -2 into u of t minus 6. So this problem is already been is available there in your assignment 1. So if you have worked on it, people, I think you will be familiar with this particular what you call it as representing the expressing the signal in the form of step and ramp. Okay, they are asking to find the energy of the signal x of t and also find the energy if you differentiate it. So finding the energy is what? If you know the limit and it is a continuous time signal, what is the formula for energy signal? Energy signal is E is equal to you will have a t is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, x of t the whole squared into dt. So this is your energy formula. So what is the limit? From -5 to 4 you have a change. From -4 to 4 you have a change. From 4 to 5 you have another change. So keeping that and using that formula, I represent the signal x of t is equal to t plus 5 from -5 to -4, and x of t is equal to minus t plus 5 from 4 to 5, and x of t is equal to 1 for -4 to 4. Now apply these functions in your integral. It is t plus 5 the whole squared into dt from -4 to -5. -4 to plus 4, it is 1 into dt. From 4 to 5, it is minus t plus 5 whole square dt. So if you do manipulate it, you will get 26 by 3, which is your energy. Now they are asking for the case B. What is case B? Case B says that what is the differentiation of that? If you differentiate a ramp, you will get a step. If you differentiate a step, you will get a impulse. If you differentiate a ramp, negative ramp, you will get a negative pulse. Because you are introduced with that already, the relation. This relation we know. So based on that relation, if you differentiate that, then obviously your signal changes like this. From -4 to -4, you had a ramp. If you differentiate that, it becomes a step. From -4 to 4, you have a step. If you differentiate that, it will be an impulse. Then 4 to 5, you have again a ramp, negative ramp, so you will have a negative step. Now, from -4 to -5, the value is 1. From 4 to 5, the value is -1. So, if you integrate, you will get energy to be 2 joules. Okay. Okay. Now, find and sketch the even and odd part of the signal. X of n is equal to 4 minus 2, 4 minus 6. This is what provided. So, if you work on it, then your the formula finding out the energy and odd is your even and odd is x of n plus x of minus n by 2, and this is odd is going to be x of n minus x of minus n by 2. So substituting different values, because it is providing that x of n is equal to 4 minus 2 minus 4 and minus 6. At 0th instant the value is 4, at -1 it is -2, at -2 it is 4, and then if you substitute the n values here, and if you see, the sequence will look like, it is symmetric around x is equal to y is equal to 0, x is equal to 0. You can see that both sides of 4 you will have the same value. That is x of n is equal to x of minus n. Then x of minus n is equal to minus x of n. You can see that. You can see that in the odd part, the values will be of negative value, and the 0th instant is 0. So find the fundamental period of the given signal. X of n is equal to e power j 2 pi by 3n plus e power j 3 pi by 4n. You know both. You know both the cases. So what is the fundamental period? Fundamental period, you will be working on it. How do you work on it? How do you work on it? I take the problem. I think this is the problem which has been already discussed in the academic regular class. So first I will write omega 1 is equal to 2 pi by 3. Omega 2 is equal to, from second part, you will get 3 pi by 4. So n1 can be written as 2 pi divided by omega 1, which is equal to 2 pi by 3 into m1, and n2 is equal to 3 pi by 4. Okay, sorry, 2 pi divided by 3 pi by 4, 2 pi divided by 3 pi by 4 into m2. Now you had 3 into m1. Here you have, this is n1. Okay, n1 is equal to 3 into m1. n2 is equal to, you will have 8 into m2. Now you take LCM of 3 and 8. Okay, LCM of 3 and 8. Obviously, what you will get, you will get it like 8 by 3 into m2. If you put m2 is equal to 3, you will get 8. So obviously, you will not have an m2 here. m1, if you put 1, then you will get 3. So LCM of 3 and 8 will be 24. So the fundamental period n is equal to 24. N is equal to 24. So here you can see that n is equal to 24. Okay, that is the fundamental period. Okay, if it is, whether it is periodic or not, this signal, you can see it is not a periodic signal, because at t is equal to 0, this signal is a discontinuous signal, so this is not a periodic signal. Okay, you can see that at t is equal to 0, this is a discontinuous signal, so it is not a periodic signal. Whether it is energy or power, if you see this signal is energy or power, if you apply the formula, you can see energy is finite and power is 0, so it is a energy signal. Whether this signal is energy or power, it is e power j term. E power j term, the magnitude value is going to be always 1. So obviously you will have only 2. Okay. So if you substitute that, you will get energy is infinite and power as a finite value. So you call this as a power signal. This is a power signal. Okay. Now determine the power and RMS value of the provided signal. If your signal is provided as x of t is equal to a cos omega naught t plus theta, then the power value, the formula for power is equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 by 2t integral minus t to plus t x of t the whole squared. Now replace that, you will get a squared into cos squared omega naught t plus theta. And if you see that cos squared omega naught t plus theta can be written as 1 plus cos 2 theta by 2. Now if you manipulate that, integrate it, then your second part of the integration becomes 0, because taking integration for one complete cycle of a trigonometric function, particularly a sine or a cos function, will always be 0. So you are ended with a value a squared by 2, and the RMS value of that is going to be a by root 2. If you apply that for a problem, then obviously you will get 5 squared by 2, which is equal to 25 by 2 as your power value, and the RMS value is going to be square root of that 5 by root 2. Okay. So again, you can work on this. You have two signals. You will have 10 squared by 2 plus 16 squared by 2. I think you will get both 100 plus 256. So 356 by 2 will give you 178. Okay, that is what square root of 178 will give you the RMS value. This is cos A, cos B part. So you can write it like cos A plus B plus cos A minus B. Okay. So based on that, you will get an information, and this x of t will be 5 into cos a plus b. A is 5t, b is 10t, so 15t. A minus b, so 10 minus 5, so 5t. Again, it looks like a cos omega naught t. So I apply the shortcut method. So I will get 5 squared by 2 and 5 plus 5 squared by 2, which is equal to 25 by 2 plus 25 by 2, which will again give me 25. Because square root of 25 is 5 is your RMS value. If you go for e power j alpha t, the magnitude value again cos omega naught t is there. The coefficient of cos omega naught t is 1. So obviously you will get a 1 there. So the power value is going to be 1, and the RMS value is going to be 1 by root 2, which is equal to 0.707. We have to derive it. Okay. Now sketch the following signal and calculate their energies. E power minus t 10t into u of t. If you see that this is your energy, this is the signal, and if you apply that, the value changes. E power minus 10t into square, so you will get e power minus 20t. If you take, it will be e power minus 20t divided by minus 20, so minus minus gets cancelled, and it will be plus 1 by 20. And if you take integration, you will end up with t and infinity. If you put t equal to 0, it is going to e power minus infinity. E power minus infinity is going to be what? 0. So obviously you will get with 1 by 20. That is your energy. Sketch the following signal and calculate the energy u of t minus u of t minus 15. So this is the signal u of t and u of t minus 15, and the value is going to be 1. And if you substitute that, the energy is going to be 0 to 15. And if you integrate it, you will get t. If you is applying that, you will get your 15 value. So that is your energy. Sketch the following signal and calculate the energy cos 10 pi t u of t u of 2 minus t. Now we have to find what is there actually available. Now you go for it. This is u of t, this is u of 2 minus t, and if you multiply that, you will get in the negative part u of t is 0, so this also becomes 0. If you multiply, you will end up with the third diagram, and if you multiply that with your cos 10 pi t, your frequency becomes 2 pi t, because you can see that this ends up to 2, so the frequency is going to be 2 pi, not 10 pi. This signal is going to be like this, so the variation is between 0 to 2. If you apply that in the integration, you will get cos squared 2 pi t. So again, if you go for it, the second part of integration becomes 0, and your value is going to be 1. So whether this is causal or non-causal, this u of t is defined, so it is going to be causal because it is defined only for the positive side. It is going to be causal. The first one, this is u of minus t, because it is defined for the negative value. It is going to be non-causal. This sin t will be looking like both the cases. In both the right side and left side, it will be defined. So this is going to be a non-causal signal. This u of n plus 3 minus u of n minus 2, you can see that this is available in the left hand side also. So negative side also it is defined, so it is a non-causal signal. You can see that all this explanation is provided. U of t is causal, u of minus t is non-causal, sync, you can see both the sides it is available, so it is non-causal. Whether it is dynamic or static, you can see first and second is dynamic because it is depending upon the past value, first one. The second one, it depends upon the future value, and the third one is depending upon only the present value. So third one is a static system, and first and second are dynamic systems. You can see that the output depends on past value of the input, so it is dynamic. Here, it is depending upon the future value, so it is again dynamic. It is depending upon the present only, so it is static. About system, causal or non-causal system, you can see that how to find a causal or non-causal. Again, you have to see whether it is depending. Okay, now you can see n and n minus 1 provides you past value and the present value, so it is causal. Here t and t minus 2 is also providing present and past value, so it is also causal. Third one, t minus 2 and 2 minus t. Here 2 minus t is not a causal part, it is a non-causal part, so the third one is a non-causal value. Again, here you can see that 2t, this 2t is creating a problem which will not depend on, which will go for a future value dependence, so it is going to be a non-causal. X of minus n is a non-causal, so it is a non-causal system. N squared also depends on future value, so it is going to be non-causal. You can see that. So it is depending on present and past, so it is going to be a causal system. Here also it is depending on present and past value of the output, so input, so it is going to be non-causal. Here you can see this 2 minus t, this x of 2. Okay, this is a future input, so it is a non-causal. Right, you can see that this instead of what y is equal to 0, it is requiring the past value. Okay, when you put t equal to 1, then it requires z is equal to 2 and z is equal to minus infinity. This z of 2 is the future value, so it is going to be non-causal. Minus n, always I said this is going to be a non-causal part which depends on the future input, so it is a non-causal signal. So n squared also, if you put n is equal to 2, then it requires x is equal to 4, which is a future value, so it is a non-causal. Okay, these slides I will be posting into your in your classroom. You go through this and check it out whether these are all causal or not. About linear and nonlinear, we already described that, so I go for it. You can see that you have a t squared term here. Because of this t squared term and this t term, this becomes a nonlinear system. You can see that. Okay, sorry, this is dy by dt plus 3t into y of t plus t squared x of t. Here, okay, you are not having any issues. You can directly multiply that. You will get it like x1 of t, x2 of t. So if you add the weighted sum of the output as well as weighted sum of the input, they both are equal. So 2.7 and 2.8 are equal. So they are linear. Here also you can see that they both are becoming to be equal. So they are linear systems. Here you can see that n into x of 1. So again, if you have added weighted sum of outputs and weighted sum of inputs, both are equal. So they are linear again. Again, if you go for x squared here, okay, it is x squared here. Now this signal x squared will create a problem that will make you look like a nonlinear system. Okay, so it is a nonlinear system if you work on it. So here also you have a x squared term, so it is a nonlinear term. So you have a constant term b here, so that is also a nonlinear term. But this third one is a linear term, so you can work on it and verify. What is time invariant and time variant system? Time invariant and time variant, if you see, if you apply an input and if you are getting an output and you vary the input time and the same amount of variation is there in the output also, you call it as a time invariant system. In simply, if you see all the coefficients are constant in an equation, then you call it as a time invariant system. If the coefficient is a function of time, then it is going to be a time varying system. Okay, this x of t minus t or y of t comma t is called as a delayed t, input delayed, output delayed is y of t minus t. If this condition is satisfied, it is time invariant, and this condition is not satisfied, then it is called as time variant. Now we can see that because of the first system, all the coefficients you see all are constant. It is not a function of time, so it is a linear time invariant system. Now you can see you have a 3n, which is a function of time. You have an n squared, which is a function of time, so it is a time varying system. So you have a function of time here, t there, so it is a time varying system. And again, if you put it t squared inside it, it is also a time varying system, because if you apply that in your condition, obviously you will get it like x of t squared minus t, but here it is going to be x of t by the whole square. So it is going to be a time varying system. This is also a time varying system because a manipulation is there, minus t is there. If you delay that, you will get minus t minus capital T. But if you apply that t instead of t, go for t minus t, then you will get minus t plus t. So you see these two equations are not same, so obviously this is the time varying. But here it is not, it is having as it is, so it is not varying actually. You can see t minus t will be here. Again, you will have a t minus t. If you change t is equal to t minus t, then you will get a time invariant system. Here also a function of time is there. N is outside the x actually, so it is going to be a time varying system. You can check the homework problems as posted. So stable and unstable I have already described. So if you see this, if x of n is stable, bounded signal, then y of n is also stable for the first case. So the first case is a stable system. But in second case, even x of n is bounded value. If n is equal to infinity, then obviously this first term of the second equation in the right hand side creates a problem. So this is an unstable system. Some useful mathematical relations are also provided. You can go through this. Okay, you can go through this. I will post this in your classroom, this slide in your classroom. You go through this slide one by one, work on that again. And if you have specific doubts in any of the slide number, you mention it in the WhatsApp group today itself, no issue. I will try to clarify that doubt. Okay. So with this, I think I have ended up with the introduction about what is that, the entire introduction of signals and system is being provided. So what is covered? Representation of continuous time and discrete time signals, shifting and scaling operations, linear, time invariant and causal systems are described. So this particular part is being covered now, and a few problems are also described, okay, for your verification. I have given you few homework problems also. So kindly go through those homework problems. By tomorrow, I will be dealing with any of these Fourier series or Fourier transform based or Laplace transform based analysis in continuous time and discrete time. So until then, if you still want to discuss today, you can you are welcome. I can answer your doubts. Okay, I can answer your doubts if you are having any doubts now, or I will wind up the session. Particularly if you are having doubts, please ask. I am waiting for doubts. If you are having doubts, please ask. I know it is. I am little faster. I know a little faster because the allotted time is only 7 hours for signals and systems. But the problem is, I have to cover the theory part first, and I have to deal with all the previous gate solved problems. Okay, to give some idea how the problem is asked in a gate exam or a non-gate exam. So for that, you have to cooperate. You have to follow the pace of the lecture. Okay. So the work what I expect is you go there, take the slides, and you go through the lectures, and finally come out with some doubts if you have. Even in the WhatsApp group you can post. Any doubts? Any doubts in the discussed part? Yes. So far, no. But you try to see the slides today. I will be posting it in the Prerana classroom. You go through it. Okay. Then you come out with what is the doubt actually. Okay, on seeing the problems. So tomorrow I think you will be joining the classroom by the same 2, where we will be discussing the remaining parts. Okay. So thank you.